Welcome, deeply curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we are taking a truly mind-bending journey into one of the most enduring, baffling, and frankly, wildest mysteries of modern history, the Tunguska event of 1908.
It really is something else. For over a century, something catastrophic happened over Siberia.
Yeah, leaving behind this enormous crater of confusion in the scientific community, and we're here to really dig into it.
It's definitely more than just some historical anomaly. It's like a century of scientific head-scratching. The sheer scale of the Tunguska explosion was just immense.
How big are we talking?
Flattening over 2,000 square kilometers of forest. That's roughly the size of a major metropolitan city.
Wow.
But what makes it so perplexing, so enduringly mysterious, is that the conventional explanations, well, they've consistently fallen short of accounting for all the evidence.
Right. Leaving us with a truly incomplete picture. It feels like pieces are missing.
Exactly.
And that, my friends, is precisely our mission today. We are not just rehashing old theories, dusting off the same old debates. No way.
We've actually unearthed some truly radical, really mind-blowing alternative perspectives.
Yeah, from fascinating, lesser-known research and eyewitness accounts that challenge everything we thought we knew about Earth, about physics, even cosmic events.
We're talking about a narrative so astonishing it might just make you question the very ground you walk on. Seriously.
So prepare for an open-minded exploration unlike any other. Let's dive deep into the Tunguska enigma.
Okay, so let's start our journey by revisiting the official narrative, or maybe what we thought was the official narrative of the Tunguska mystery. Picture this. It's June 30th, 1908, early morning.
Yep. People across Eastern Siberia are just going about their day, and then suddenly the sky just erupts with something truly spectacular and terrifying.
So what do they see?
Well, eyewitnesses from all sorts of different locations describe this phenomenally bright, sun-like body streaking across the sky.
A flying sun.
Basically.
Yeah.
But almost immediately, the observations start to diverge. That's the first big set of inconsistencies.
Some observers were absolutely adamant it was moving from south to north. Others insisted no, it was east to west. And many more reported directions somewhere totally in between.
Huh. It's like everyone was seeing a slightly different phenomenon.
Exactly. Or the same thing, doing very weird things.
And the speed, I heard that was all over the place, too.
Oh, yeah. Another point of intense debate. Some accounts said it was moving relatively slowly, like an airplane.
Which is just completely baffling, right? For something from space.
Totally baffling. But then others described it flashing by like a meteor, at incredible speed.
Imagine trying to reconcile those. If you're a scientist trying to piece this together, it's like eyewitnesses to a car crash, but one says it was a Formula One car, and the other says it was a kid on a tricycle.
Huh. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what's truly perplexing, just a major headache for scientists trying to fit this into a standard box, is the baffling absence of a smoky trail.
Right. No smoke. Or something burning up in the atmosphere.
Exactly. For any large celestial body, a meteor, a comet fragment entering Earth's atmosphere, a long, visible smoke or dust trail is like the signature characteristic. It's ablating, burning up.
So its complete absence in the Tunguska accounts is?
A glaring, undeniable inconsistency. It just defies traditional atmospheric entry physics. Full stop.
And the physical impact on the ground was immense, wasn't it? Even before the main event.
Oh, huge. Powerful earthquakes were felt over 1 million square kilometers.
1 million square kilometers? That's a mind-boggling expanse.
It really is. People reported windows cracking in their frames, objects falling off tables and shelves, hanging lamps swinging wildly.
Even doors flying open 1,000 kilometers away.
Yeah, up to 1,000 kilometers away from where the epicenter would have actually be located. The Earth itself was literally trembling in anticipation. It's wild.
So these initial observations alone, even before we get to the explosion, they just scream that this was utterly unusual, defiant of conventional understanding.
Absolutely unequivocal. But then we get to the explosion itself, and that's where the contradictions really begin to pile up.
Making the standard narrative even more shaky.
Exactly, more unstable.
Yes, because scientifically, based on barograms and seismograms, the consensus points to a single massive explosion, one big bang.
Right, that's what the instruments suggested.
But here's the thing. The eyewitnesses, those people who actually experienced it firsthand, they tell a profoundly different story.
They really do. Many reported not just one blast, but 3 to 5 distinct explosions. Boom, boom, boom.
Multiple explosions.
Multiple. And what they saw accompany these blasts was truly something out of, science fiction, honestly.
What?
They described towering flame columns that were brighter than the sun. And get this, impossibly, they reached up to 100 kilometers into the sky.
Wait, 100 kilometers? That's practically the edge of space. Column of fire reaching space.
Think about that scale. It's staggering.
And the sound must have been incredible.
Equally dramatic, maybe more so. A horrible roar like cannons. So loud it was heard hundreds and hundreds of kilometers away.
Wow.
But beyond the incredible sights and sounds, there were these incredibly exotic, almost surreal physical sensations reported.
Sensations.
Yeah. People spoke of feeling huge stones falling to Earth, or even this chilling sensation like someone strongly knocking on the Earth from inside.
Knocking from inside. That sounds less like a cosmic impact and more like something ripped straight out of ancient folklore or myth.
Doesn't it? But here's where it truly veers into the realm of the unexplained. This part challenges the very fabric of cause and effect.
Okay, I'm ready.
One of the most perplexing facts derived from numerous eyewitness accounts is the undeniable presence of powerful air shock waves that preceded the visible light flashes and the audible explosions themselves.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me get this straight. You're saying the effect of the explosion, the shock wave, the blast wave, it hit before people saw the light or heard the bang.
That's exactly what many accounts describe. The wave hit first, then the flash, then the roar.
How does that even begin to work with conventional physics? That fundamentally breaks causality as we understand it. Cause comes before effect.
Precisely. And that's the causal dilemma that classical physics simply cannot resolve. If a shock wave is a result of an explosion, it is physically impossible for it to arrive before its cause.
So this detail, it's maybe the biggest clue that something else is going on.
It's perhaps the biggest, brightest red flag for any traditional explanation of Tunguska.
Yeah.
It forces scientists clinging to conventional models to either, well, dismiss these accounts entirely as unreliable, or invent highly speculative, completely unproven atmospheric phenomena just to try and make it fit, sort of bending the rules to fit the observation.
And the timing of this event is just an absolute chronological mess, isn't it?
A total mess. Scientists, with their admirable dedication to precision, they naturally focused on the instrumental data.
The seismograms recording ground tremors and barograms recording air pressure changes.
Exactly. And based on this data, they came to a definitive conclusion. The explosion happened at 7:44 AM Irkutsk time. They had data, instruments, numbers. Very neat and tidy.
Very precise. But
yes, and that scientific precision stands in stark, almost comical contrast to the chaotic and wildly variable eyewitness accounts.
So people on the ground didn't agree on 7:44 AM.
Not even close. Some reported seeing the object and experiencing the event well before 7 a.m. Others insisted it was after 8 a.m. Many swore it happened around lunchtime or even later in the afternoon.
Lunchtime? That's hours later.
I know. And then you have the truly baffling outliers who claim to have seen something related at 8 or even 10 p.m., flying in various completely different directions.
It's like time and space just went completely haywire over Siberia that day.
It really feels like it, as if everyone saw a different event, or maybe the same event playing out in a completely fractured reality.
So this incredible variability in timing, plus the conflicting flight directions, and that utterly confounding pre-explosion shockwave.
It means the more the Tunguska phenomenon is studied, the more contradictory data emerges. There just seems to be no end in sight to these profound inconsistencies. It doesn't get clearer, it gets weirder.
And this is exactly where traditional science kind of hits a wall, right?
Pretty much. The prevailing stance within mainstream academia for a long time has been that there are no unknown laws of physics needed to explain things. We've got it figured out, basically.
So researchers try to force these contradictory facts into the classical frameworks?
Even when they obviously don't fit. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with a sledgehammer.
Which often results in inconvenient facts just being ignored or discarded because they don't conform to the accepted paradigm?
Exactly. You end up selecting the data that fits your pet theory and tossing out everything else that complicates it.
Right. But what if the problem isn't the facts themselves? What if it's our fundamental understanding of the laws of physics that's incomplete?
What if Tunguska operated on principles we haven't even begun to grasp, forcing us to expand our whole worldview?
Exactly. But for a very long time, there just wasn't a compelling reason for science to seriously consider unknown physical laws, was there?
Not really, because we hadn't truly encountered phenomena that so definitively defied them. Until, perhaps, a much more recent event provided an undeniable blueprint for a new kind of physics, happening right here on Earth.
And that, my friends, brings us to our next truly mind-bending stop, the Sasovo phenomenon. This is an ancient history, not a tale from a century ago.
Yep, this happened in 1991 in the small town of Sasovo, Russia, relatively recently.
And it might just be nature's way of tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hey, here's some new physics for you to chew on. Maybe pay attention this time.
Huh. Could be. So on April 12, 1991, at precisely 1:34 a.m., this powerful, unearthly hum struck Sassovo.
A hum, not an explosion.
A deep, pervasive hum. But this wasn't just an auditory thing. It was accompanied by widespread physical damage. Windows and doors blown out of homes, fences, roof collapsing, even large tree branches snapped clean off.
Wow, like an invisible force just swept through.
Yeah, it was chaos, impacting homes across the town.
But here's the absolutely baffling kicker, the part that makes you go, what?
Yeah.
At 9 a.m. that same morning, about a kilometer away from the damaged houses,
Residents discovered a crater. A really substantial one, 28 meters across, 4 meters deep.
Okay, a crater after a mysterious event. Weird, but maybe explainable. A gas explosion underground. Something.
Maybe. But then, a month later, they remeasured it, and its diameter had grown to 30 meters.
Grown. The crater got bigger after the event.
Spontaneously expanded. That's not how explosions work in any physics textbook I've ever seen. Craters don't grow.
No kidding. So that anomalous growth, plus a whole host of other incredibly strange observations.
They simply cannot be explained by classical mechanics or any known geological process. Sassovo, in many ways, was like nature's direct, undeniable demonstration of physics operating beyond our current understanding.
Real-world laboratory for truly new phenomena. Okay, get ready, folks, because these anomalies will genuinely bend your mind. Prepare to rethink what you believe is possible. First up, the neon globe.
Right. Multiple people reported seeing this neon glow, described either like a sphere or maybe a cloud.
Rising from where the crater would later appear?
Precisely. Rising from the future crater site at the moment of the hum. It then apparently floated eerily over the town's train station before just vanishing.
A glowing sphere emerging from inside the ground. Okay, yeah, that's definitely not a meteorite impact.
Not even close. Then there's the bizarre effect of time dilation.
Time slowing down. Like in sci-fi movies?
Apparently, yes. People who spent several hours near the crater during the day reported that time literally slowed down for them. Their watches ran slow, their perception of time felt warped.
They felt like hours had passed when it was only minutes.
That's the description. This is something we normally associate with, extreme gravitational fields near black holes or relativistic speeds in space.
Not a random crater in rural Russia.
Exactly. What could cause that here on Earth?
And the hum. You said it wasn't just a one-off.
No, it continued after the main event, the damage. Plus, there were significant radio disturbances, interference, both before and after the hum and the damage occurred.
So it wasn't just a physical impact. It was complex electromagnetic, maybe even temporal. Something interacting with the environment.
Seems like it. And the crater itself was also highly unusual in its shape, its morphology.
How so?
It was perfectly circular, almost unnaturally so. And it had this distinctive central earthen peak, like a little hill right in the middle.
A peak inside.
Yeah, making it resemble what geologists call a lunar cirque crater, like a miniature version of a specific type of crater found on the moon, usually formed by volcanic activity or collapse.
Not by an impact or a typical explosion.
Right. Completely atypical for a conventional explosion crater on Earth.
And here's a critical point. You mentioned it was a non-explosion explosion.
Yes. This is crucial. There was absolutely no smell of burnt substances, no evidence of extreme heat or charring anywhere, and, critically, no crushed or pulverized soil at the bottom or walls of the crater.
If something blew up with that kind of force, you'd expect the ground to be, well, obliterated, singed, pulverized.
Exactly. But it wasn't. It was clean. Almost neat, despite the scale.
Okay, that's weird. But this next one, this is maybe the weirdest. The vanishing Earth.
Ah, yes. This is perhaps the most significant detail in terms of potentially overturning our understanding of physics. More than 1,500 cubic meters of soil.
That's like 70% of the dirt that should have been displaced by a crater that size.
Simply vanished. It wasn't piled up around the rim like you'd expect. It wasn't scattered across the landscape. He was just gone. 1,500
cubic meters. That's enough to fill hundreds of dump trucks. Where could it possibly go?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. It simply ceased to be present.
Vanished into thin air. Okay, my brain hurt.
Mine too. And if that wasn't enough, the edges of the crater had these strange, concentric, ring-shaped cracks around them.
Cracks?
Yeah, giving the distinct impression that the edges were somehow pulled into the crater, not pushed out by a blast.
Pulled in, like the ground was imploding or being sucked inward rather than exploding outward.
That's what the evidence suggests.
Yeah.
A complete reversal of an explosion.
And speaking of reversals, the shock wave, or lack thereof.
Right. Adding to this complete reversal of conventional logic, there was a shocking lack of impact wave traces near the crater. Power poles just 120 meters away, completely unharmed.
A half-rotted cattle shed just 200 meters away.
Untouched. An oil depot, flammable stuff, a mere 650 meters away. No damage whatsoever. Nothing.
But the destruction happened further away.
Exactly. The destruction from an impact wave began 1 kilometer away and then extended outwards for 5-10 kilometers. And there were 3 distinct rays of damage reaching out 30-50 kilometers.
So the damage starts far away and maybe points back towards the crater.
It strongly suggests the destructive wave somehow moved towards the crater, not away from it. It defies all known principles of blast dynamics. It's backwards.
It's like the universe was running in reverse that night.
Okay, what else? The soil ejection?
Ah, yeah, the bizarre soil ejection. Large clumps of soil, some huge, up to 2 cubic meters, like a small car made of dirt.
Were thrown really far.
Scattered in this peculiar star-shaped pattern up to 350 meters away. Now, 80% of these clumps fell vertically. Bang, as you might expect.
Yeah.
But get this, 10% descended slowly, almost floating down gently.
Floating dirt clods.
Floating dirt clods. And even though these clumps were fragile, they'd crumble easily in your hand, they somehow landed intact, defying the forces of impact from that height. How does crumbly dirt land intact after floating for hundreds of meters?
It makes absolutely no sense. Okay, the saltpeter mystery, what's that?
Another one that just defies logic. 13.5 tons of saltpeter fertilizer stored in paper bags just 70 meters from the crater.
They were found moved, somehow transported right to the crater's edge, and then almost completely vanished. Gone, like the soil.
13 tons of saltpeter vanished.
Most of it. And the few remaining bags, they were torn from the inside. Not ripped open by an external blast, but as if some internal force had burst them open.
Inside out. Weird. What about the power poles?
The power line poles closest to the crater, they were tilted inward, towards the crater.
Pulled towards it.
As if pulled by some unseen gravitational or maybe anti-gravitational force. Not pushed away.
And for all this crazy destruction, you said many residents didn't even hear an explosion.
That's right. Many reported they didn't hear an explosion at all. Just that profound hum, followed by maybe 2 distinct claps, like thunder, and then the sound of cracking, collapsing structures.
They even thought it might be an airplane at first.
Yeah, they initially associated the hum with an airplane, but then quickly became unsure. It's like their ears and minds literally couldn't process what was happening, struggling to find a familiar explanation.
And there were small earthquakes, too.
Yeah, it fell 1.5 to 5 kilometers away. Significant enough to make chandeliers sway and objects fall in multi-story buildings, so real ground vibrations.
But still lacking a clear epicenter consistent with a normal blast.
Exactly. All these facts, taken together, they just scream. There's not a conventional explosion in any sense we understand it. Something else happened here.
So what was it? This is where the author of our source material, A.F. Chernyaev, steps in with a truly revolutionary and frankly audacious hypothesis.
It really is audacious. He posits it was a physical phenomenon caused by an alien body. But hold on.
Not alien from outer space.
No. Alien as in foreign to the surface, originating from deep within the Earth itself.
From inside the Earth.
Yes. He calls it a gravibolide, and he proposes it possess anti-gravity property.
Anti-gravity, born inside the Earth.
That's the theory. This gravibolide, according to Chernyaev, was pushed out from Earth's gravicenter, the deep core region, migrating for possibly centuries outwards towards the surface.
And it reached the surface in Sassovo.
Exactly. It erupted outward, forming that bizarre crater and, importantly, carrying that astonishing 1,500 cubic meters of vanishing soil directly into space as that neon cloud.
So the dirt didn't vanish, it was ejected upwards to space.
By this anti-gravity body. This isn't just a new kind of event. It's proposing a new kind of geology, a new Earth dynamic.
Whoa! So Earth isn't just a passive target for stuff from space. It might be a generator of its own cosmic bodies. That's a huge paradigm shift.
Massive. And here's where he brilliantly connects the dots back to our original mystery. Tunguska.
He links Sasovo and Tunguska.
Correctly. Chernyaev suggests that the so-called Tunguska meteorite and the Sissovo gravibolide are fundamentally the same kind of phenomenon. Earth-born anti-gravity bodies.
Just differing in size and power.
Exactly. Tunguska being vastly larger and more powerful. And this implies if Sasovo left a crater from its emergence.
Then there must be a massive crater somewhere near Tunguska where that Gravibolide actually emerged from the Earth, far bigger than Sasovo's.
That's the logical conclusion of the hypothesis. A huge emergence crater waiting to be found, distinct from the forest flattening site.
Wow. This hypothesis, it provides this grand framework that could potentially unify all the seemingly disparate and contradictory data from both events.
It does, by positing a completely new kind of interaction with fundamental forces, gravity, anti-gravity.
Yeah.
It forces us to reconsider the very nature of our planet.
Okay, wow. We've definitely pulled back the curtain on some truly wild ideas here. Ideas that completely flip the script on what we thought we knew about Earth, the cosmos, everything.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This deep dive is about asking those questions no one else dares to ask.
And finding answers potentially in the most unexpected places. Looking at the anomalies, not ignoring them.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most astonishing truths are just lying there, hidden in plain sight, maybe in old reports or forgotten eyewitness accounts.
Just waiting for someone to connect the dots in a whole new way, challenging our scientific dogma.
Yeah, challenging the status quo.
And if you're as hooked as we are on these brain-bending revelations, I mean, how could you not be? Then you know what to do.
That's right. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and definitely consider joining our memberships.
Your support genuinely helps us keep diving deep into these incredible mysteries and bringing you these, frankly, awe-inspiring stories. We couldn't do it without you.
Seriously, thank you.
All right, welcome back to the deepest dive into the Tunguska enigma. If you thought the Sasovo phenomenon and the idea of Earth-born gravibolides was mind-blowing, well, hold on to your hats.
That's right. Because our source material, Chernyaev's work, proposes a truly radical reevaluation of Tunguska itself, based on what he calls a two-explosion theory.
Two explosions, not one.
Not one big one from space. He argues Tunguska was unique precisely because it wasn't just a simple anti-gravitational expulsion, like he proposes Sasovo was.
Okay, so what made Tunguska different?
He thinks it involved a far more complex interplay of three fundamental forces: gravity, anti-gravity, and electromagnetism, all interacting.
Wow, okay. Gravity, anti-gravity, and electromagnetism.
This incredibly rare combination, he theorizes, is what led to the Tunguska Gravibilide's explosive death and fragmentation in the atmosphere, rather than a cleaner disappearance into space like the Sasovo one might have had.
So it wasn't one massive impact from space, but two distinct cataclysmic events, both resulting from these Earth-generated forces.
That's the audacious claim. Two related but separate events.
And the first explosion, he calls it the Altai Genesis. This supposedly happened on June 29, 1908, a full day before the main Tunguska event we usually talk about.
Exactly, a day earlier. And this isn't just pure speculation pulled out of thin air.
What's the evidence?
Chernyaev points to anomalies in early barograph readings, those instruments measuring atmospheric pressure from 6 different meteorological stations, including places like Kesma and Nizhny Limsk.
And these stations recorded an explosion when?
Earlier than the calculated arrival time of the pressure wave from the main Tunguska epicenter. Much earlier.
And researchers just ignored these readings?
Pretty much. Because they didn't fit the convenient single-event narrative. They were dismissed as instrument errors or unrelated noise.
But the truly compelling piece of evidence for this first explosion comes from an eyewitness, right?
A remarkable eyewitness account by a guy named AM Irkutsk from Bisk, a city near the Altai Mountains in southern Siberia.
What did he see on June 29th?
He described seeing this bright, rapidly growing ball flying northeast. Said it was as bright as the moon, but not blinding, and it left a white, smoky trail.
Okay, so far that sounds like a fairly standard meteor description. Bright ball, smoky trail.
Right. But here's the crucial sequence of events he described. This is key. Kudryavtsev noted an unnatural fluctuating light first. This light caused immediate fear in animals. Dogs ran to hide, chickens went to roost.
Animals sensed something was wrong from the light.
Seemed so. And then, after the light, came an unnatural noise, an earth tremor and a dull hum.
Wait, light first, then tremor and sound. That's backward for a meteor too, isn't it? Usually you get the shock wave, then the light sound.
Exactly. This sequence, light, then physical effects and hum, is strikingly similar to the Sasovo event pattern and fundamentally inconsistent with a typical meteor impact scenario.
Okay, that's compelling. So where did Chernyaev calculate this first event happened?
Based on the wave travel times recorded by those previously ignored barographs at Kesma and Nizhny Limsk, factoring in their distances from the Altai Mountains and the speed of the airwave, He meticulously calculated that this initial explosion, or emergence, originated in the Altai Mountains.
And the time.
Approximately 6.41 to 6.43 AM Irkutsk time, which is around midnight GMT on June 29th, a full day before the Tunguska forest flattening.
Wow. And here's where it gets really wild, right? The crater.
This is truly amazing. Using modern tools, specifically Google Maps satellite imagery, Chernyaev claims to have discovered a massive, previously unidentified crater in the Altai Mountains.
Where exactly?
Located about 2 kilometers from the former village of Chernyaev, and it's colossal, over 1 kilometer in diameter.
Kilometer wide. And it has that signature feature.
Yes, a distinctive small hill right inside it, just like the Sasovo crater, but much bigger. As we learned, this internal hill is suggested as a characteristic signature of a gravibolide emergence, not a typical impact crater.
That's incredible. A hidden kilometer-wide crater matching the theory. Is there any other corroboration?
What's even crazier is that this discovery resonates uncannily with a local Mongolian Altai legend, an old story.
A legend about what?
It speaks of a powerful explosion at dawn that literally tore off a mountain peak and destroyed others nearby, yet miraculously left the village closest to it completely unharmed.
Unharmed. That sounds familiar.
Doesn't it? It's strikingly similar to that anti-wave effect observed in Sissovo, where the destructive force seemed to move towards the epicenter, sparing the immediate vicinity.
So this ancient legend, passed down for generations, could actually be describing the exact same type of gravibolide phenomenon, an Earth-born anti-gravity event from 1908.
And it's certainly a tantalizing possibility. The parallels are hard to ignore.
Okay, so to actually confirm this astounding revolutionary theory, what would an expedition to this Altai crater need to find? What's the checklist?
Right. Specific, undeniable evidence. For instance, they'd need to look for stories, oral histories, from the descendants of those Chernyaev residents.
The village near the crater.
Yes, who for some unknown reason abruptly moved their entire village 20 kilometers south to a new settlement called Ust-Chernyaev shortly after 1908. Was the emergence of this massive gravibolide the reason they relocated? That'd be strong circumstantial evidence.
Makes sense. What else? Physical evidence.
Physical evidence would be key. They'd need to look for signs of mountain peaks nearby that were somehow thrown towards the crater. That would defy all conventional physics of an outward blast.
What about the rock type?
If the mountain's composition is found to be quartzite, that would be a monumental clue.
Why quartzite?
Because unique quartzite stones, like the Yankovsky and Infinijonov stones, found hundreds of kilometers away at the traditional Tunguska site, are unlike any surrounding rocks there. If they match quartzite from this Altai crater, it strongly suggests they were expelled from here.
Okay, got it. What else at the crater itself?
Well, the persistent presence of that inner hill within the kilometer-wide crater would be crucial confirmation of the non-impact model. Also, a torn, uneven surface at the crater's edge, indicating an inward pull rather than an outward push from an explosion.
And the really weird stuff, like time dilation?
That would be the most astonishing piece of evidence. Based on the Sasovo precedent, they should look for evidence of time itself slowing down inside the crater, especially near the center.
Seriously, they think that could still be happening.
Chernyaev speculates that an ether cord, his term for a residual connection from the gravibolide, might still be emitting something, potentially causing chronometers, precise clocks, to fall behind by more than 10 seconds per day even now.
Imagine walking into a time warp in the Altai Mountains. That's movie stuff.
It sounds like it. They'd also look for remnants of those ring cracks on the mountain slopes, identical to the ones seen at Sasovo.
And signs it wasn't a normal explosion.
Critically important. They would seek signs of non-explosive formation. No crushed rock at the bottom or walls, no surrounding mound of ejected debris. Instead, the evidence should point to hundreds of millions of cubic meters of rock that were simply removed, carried out, vanished, lifted by the gravibolide's ascent.
And trees, what about the trees?
Finally, finding trees with crowns strangely pointing towards the crater, or trees broken by falling rocks that were clearly ejected from the crater, along with tree ring analysis confirming a 1908 origin for the destruction. All of that would build an incredibly strong case.
Substantiating this radical hypothesis that just completely rewrites geology and physics.
Okay.
So that's the proposed first explosion, the Altai Genesis, on June 29th.
Right. Now let's turn our attention to the second and final event in this theory, the Tunguska termination.
This is the event we all conventionally think of as the Tunguska explosion, right? The one that flattened the forest near Vanavara.
Exactly. The author places this event at 7:25 AM Irkutsk time on June 30th, 1908. This is the moment, he says, that the gravibolide, having traveled from Altai, met its end and led to that traditional Kulikovsky forest collapse.
And the timing, 7:25 a.m., that's different from the official 7:14 a.m. How does he get that?
The reinterpretation of the Irkutsk seismograph data is absolutely crucial here. Remember, the initial scientific assessment placed the explosion at 7:12 a.m. based on a conventional interpretation.
Yeah.
But Chernyaev points to a few anomalies in that seismogram. First, a slow, unusual 2-minute start to the recording. Very atypical for surface earthquakes, which usually begin much more abruptly.
Okay, a slow start. What else?
But the real clincher is a mysterious downward shift of the entire seismogram trace. It happened for about 5 minutes, between the 39th and 44th minute of the recording.
The line on the graph went down.
It's significantly down. This downward shift was previously unexplained and largely ignored by researchers. Chernyaev posits something extraordinary caused it. He suggests this downward shift was due to the Earth's actual surface sagging under the immense, almost unbelievable weight or gravitational influence of the Gravibolide as it was suspended, hovering over the future explosion site near Vanavara.
Sagging. The ground itself dipped. Because something was hovering above it?
That's the interpretation.
Yeah.
And the calculation based on the seismogram is astounding. An observed deviation of over 0.5 millimeter on the seismogram in Irkutsk, which was over 950 kilometers away,
Yeah.
indicates that the actual surface sag in the area where the gravibolide was suspended must have significantly exceeded 2 kilometers.
2 kilometers. The ground sank 2 kilometers deep because this thing was hovering overhead almost 1,000 kilometers away.
That's the mind-boggling implication. It speaks to an incomprehensible scale of the gravibolide's mass or anti-gravitational effect, something warping space-time itself.
My brain just broke again. 2 kilometers of sag. Okay, so what happened at the 44-minute mark on the seismogram?
Exactly. At 44 minutes, the seismogram shows these rapid zigzag oscillations. Very sharp, very energetic.
And previously, scientists thought these zigzags were from the impact wave hitting the seismograph building.
Yes, the air blast wave. But Chernyaev rigorously argues this is impossible. Why? Because the seismographs were sealed deep inside the building, behind 5 heavy doors, specifically to protect them from airwaves.
Ah, so the air blast couldn't have reached them.
Exactly. And crucially, barograph's air pressure instruments in the very same building registered no such sharp waves at that exact moment. The effect was purely seismic, purely ground vibration.
So if it wasn't the air blast wave, what caused the zigzags?
Chernyaev reinterprets these zigzag oscillations as the recording of the multiple explosions of the gravibolide itself, as it fragmented and died violently in the atmosphere above Tunguska. Remember the eyewitnesses reporting multiple booms?
Right. 3 to 5 explosions. So the seismograph actually recorded those multiple events directly through the ground.
That's the argument. This compelling reanalysis of the seismogram data, accounting for the initial slow start, the incredible sag, and these unique oscillation patterns, leads directly to the precise 7:25 AM Irkutsk time for the main event.
Wow. Okay. Does anything else support the 7:25 a.m. time?
Yes. The barographs, the air pressure records, remember those 6 stations that researchers ignored because they recorded an explosion too early for the accepted 7:14 AM single event timeline?
Yep.
Chernyaev meticulously reanalyzed all 21 available barograph stations from across Europe and Asia. By carefully recalculating based on the correct local time for each station and the known speed of airwave travel.
What did he find?
He found a remarkable consistency across the board. The average explosion time derived from all these disparate stations was precisely 7:25 AM Irkutsk time.
Perfectly matching the reinterpreted seismograph data.
Perfectly. This convergence of reanalyzed seismic and barographic data points strongly towards a singular consistent time of 7:25 AM for the main Tunguska event.
But importantly, it only makes sense within this radical new framework, incorporating that earlier distinct emergence event in the Altai Mountains that initiated the Gravibilide's incredible journey across Siberia.
Exactly. The two events, Altai genesis and Tunguska termination, form a coherent, though revolutionary narrative supported by this reanalyzed data.
It's a completely flipped script. Instead of a single external meteor, we have this Earth-born anti-gravity phenomenon, a gravibolide,
that first erupts in the Altai Mountains,
then flies across Siberia, interacting with gravity and electromagnetism in complex ways.
before its final spectacular multi-stage death over Tunguska at 7:25 AM.
This radical new theory, it leads us directly to the monumental efforts of another researcher, right? UD Lavbin and his team, who spent decades hunting for physical proof on the ground.
Yes, absolutely. UD Lavbin's 2008 report, titled A New Look at the Tunguska Phenomenon, is crucial here. It provides extensive field research and reanalysis of existing data.
Now, Levbin himself leaned towards a cosmic comet origin, didn't he? But modified by some other factors.
That's right. His interpretation differs from Chernyaev's Gravibolide. However, Levbin's findings, the physical evidence he gathered, can be powerfully interpreted through Chernyaev's lens to strongly support the Earth-born Gravibolide hypothesis. The data fits both, in some ways, but perhaps fits the Gravibolide model even better in light of Sissovo.
Okay, so Levbin and his team didn't just speculate from afar. They were out there in the Siberian wilderness.
For decades, they literally traced the proposed path of the object across Siberia through countless expeditions. They meticulously mapped forest fall sites far beyond the traditionally accepted Kulikovsky collapse zone near Vanavara.
Revealing a much longer, precise flight trajectory.
Exactly. And along this newly mapped path, they found compelling, consistent observations that lined up.
Like what?
Well, the flight path observed by Kudryavtsev from Bisk pointed towards Krasnoyarsk along this line. There was a report of a mysterious stone falling near Filimonovo, right on the path. Reports of earthquakes up to magnitude 6 on the 4 scale along the trajectory.
Wow, strong quakes.
Yeah, and widespread damage to gold mining equipment along the Bolshoi Pit River, again, right on the path. Plus various consistent Tungus eyewitness accounts collected earlier by researcher AM Irkutsk, which also aligned with this trajectory when mapped properly.
So it wasn't random destruction, it was a coherent line of effects across Siberia.
Exactly. It paints a picture of something traveling, shedding energy or material as it went.
And their astonishing finds in the wilderness. These are the things that really lend weight to these strange theories, right? Let's talk about the weird geological stuff first.
Okay, some truly bizarre geological oddities. First, they found what they called the corals of the Fifth Ocean.
Corals of the Fifth Ocean, what are they?
Mysterious, delicate, coral-like fragments, completely unlike any known earth rocks or minerals. Found 60 kilometers southwest of Bolshoi Murta along the flight path.
And locals knew about them.
Yeah, locals call them stones from the sky. Later analysis confirmed they were of external origin or, in Chernyaev's view, potentially intraterrestrial origin, expelled by the Gravibolide.
Okay, strange corals. What else? Breccias.
Yes, cosmic welding, breccias. Now, breccias are basically just rock fragments naturally cemented together into a solid mass. Usually happens through normal geological pressure or sedimentation.
These were different.
Very different. These were cemented stones, some huge, up to a meter in diameter, formed by what geological specialists unequivocally called cosmic welding.
Cosmic welding, what does that mean?
It means the process that fused these rocks together couldn't be replicated by traditional experiments. They tried heating them in furnaces, applying various temperatures and pressures. Nothing worked. It couldn't reproduce the unique fusion seen in these breccias.
Suggesting some completely unknown geological process, maybe involving extreme electromagnetic fields or something.
That's the implication. Conditions completely unknown to standard geology.
Okay, this is getting wild. And then the metallic rod artifact, this one sounds bonkers.
This is the ultimate mystery, the one that just makes you sit back and go, what? Deep inside one of these large, cosmically welded breccias, buried 1.5 meters deep inside solid rock.
They found what?
They discovered a melted, strangely accordion-folded metallic rod. It was fused with small fragments of other material, like quartz.
A folded metal rod inside a rock. How did it get there?
And get this, an 80-year-old pine tree had actually grown over the spot where the breccia lay, its roots intertwined, locking it in place for decades, proving it wasn't recently placed there.
So it had been there since at least the early 20th century. What's the theory? How did it get inside the rock?
The authors, Cherняev and Levbin, speculate. Remember the proposed Altai crater site, Zhendagatui?
Yeah.
They theorized that the Gravibolide's immense magnetic field, as it emerged from Altai, could have literally ripped iron objects, tools, parts, who knows, from the village or the ground there.
Pulled them up with it.
Yes. And then, as these objects were drawn toward the Gravibolide, they would have collided with its surface or with rocks being carried by it at bullet-like speeds.
Causing them to melt, deform into that accordion shape, and fuse instantly with the rock fragments forming the breccia.
That's the proposed mechanism. A violent, high-energy fusion event driven by intense magnetic fields and kinetic energy.
This metallic rod, it's a chilling, tangible piece of evidence that seems to defy all conventional explanation. It makes you wonder.
Did this stone literally fly from Altai across Siberia, carrying an earthly artifact fused inside it? Or are we talking about something else entirely, something even more profound?
Like Lav hinting at technogenic objects being involved, implying maybe unknown advanced technology.
The implications are just staggering. Whichever way you look at it, it challenges everything.
Okay, so Lav's team didn't stop there. They also reanalyzed the eyewitness accounts.
Meticulously. They took 180 eyewitness accounts and fed them into computer models to analyze trajectories. The result: a remarkable 90% of the credible accounts observed a flight path generally from west to east, or more precisely southwest to northeast.
Solidifying this new trajectory for the object, completely different from the old north-south or east-west ideas.
Exactly. Consistent with the Altai origin and the map damage path.
And using satellite imagery and their expeditions, they pinpointed the true central explosion site, not the Kulikovsky site.
That's their conclusion. The true epicenter, where the main event likely occurred, is in the interflow, the land between two rivers of the Angara and Podkamennaya Tunguska rivers, specifically near the Irkutsk River.
And they found evidence there.
Compelling physical evidence.
Yep.
A distinct 500-meter diameter crater, clearly damaged rock formations nearby, widespread carpet tree falls.
Carpet falls? What's that?
It means trees flattened in a very precise directional pattern, like a carpet rolled out, extending 40 to 45 kilometers long, oriented west to east, matching the flight path, and even a damaged hill peak, indicating a powerful localized force hit it.
And tree rings confirm the date.
Crucially, yes. Tree ring analysis from damaged trees in this specific area confirmed the destruction happened in 1908, linking it definitively to the Tunguska event, but placing the epicenter here near Irkutsk.
Okay, but the anomalous zone of this true epicenter, this is where things get truly, truly bizarre, isn't it? Like X-Files level bizarre.
Yeah, strap in. A 1995 expedition to the Kazma River, a tributary of the Irkutsk right in this zone, found what they could only describe as a dead zone.
Dead zone.
Eerily silent. No birds singing, no animals scurrying, no fish in the river, not even insects buzzing around, just silence. And the soil itself was this strange brownish-orange color, as if it had been burnt or altered by some unknown non-combustion process, like it was chemically changed.
Creepy. And the technology failures?
This is chilling for anyone relying on modern tech. Upon entering this epicenter zone, their scientific instruments, magnetometers, radiometers, and all electronic watches stopped working. Just dead.
Every single one.
Every single one. Only when they physically left the boundaries of the zone did the equipment, and watches mysteriously flicker back to life and resume functioning normally.
What could cause that? A massive electromagnetic pulse? Something else?
The cause remains undetermined, but it points to an active, powerful, and localized electromagnetic anomaly within this zone. Something is still happening there.
And this dead zone also yielded a critical scientific finding. Iridium.
Yes, a significant iridium anomaly. Soil samples taken from this Irkutsk epicenter showed iridium levels at 4 orders of magnitude higher than normal background Earth soil. That's 10,000 times more iridium than expected.
Now, iridium is often cited as the smoking gun for an extraterrestrial impact, like the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs.
Correct. But in the context of Chernyaev's intraterrestrial gravibolide theory, this finding powerfully supports that idea too. It suggests a unique geological process deep within the Earth, associated with the Gravibolide's formation or journey, brings these rare platinum group elements like iridium to the surface.
So the iridium fits both theories, but maybe makes more sense with the internal origin given all the other weirdness?
Arguably, yes. It fits the pattern of unusual elements being brought up from the depths.
Okay, what about the arc-shaped damages?
They also discovered these mysterious arc-shaped damage paths. One was 10 kilometers long, running west to east, which then smoothly curved north for another 70 kilometers.
Curved. A damage path that curves.
Yeah, ending finally in that 500-meter main crater, which itself was surrounded by several smaller craters.
What could cause a curved path like that?
The author interprets this as physical evidence of stones or fragments falling from the main gravibolide as it flew, and perhaps maneuvered or curved its trajectory during its final moments, maybe shedding pieces as its containment field failed.
And this observation, combined with the iridium, led Lavbin to hypothesize about a technogenic object.
Yes, this is where Lavbin himself introduces a truly startling idea. Based on the evidence, he proposed the hypothesis that the original object, which he still considered a 1 billion-ton Tunguska comet, was somehow deliberately exploded or intercepted by an unknown technogenic object.
An unknown technogenic object, so like an alien spaceship shot down the comet. Or something even stranger.
He doesn't explicitly say alien, but technogenic implies artificial manufactured technology. either intercepting the comet or maybe the Tunguska object itself was technogenic. The implication is mind-boggling.
My mind is officially boggled. Again, okay, and the 1996 expedition.
More weirdness.
Oh yeah, the hits keep coming. The 1996 expedition to this Irkutsk zone brought even more bizarre discoveries that just defy easy explanation.
Lay it on me. Magnetic anomalies.
Peculiar magnetic anomalies. They found rocks, specifically traps, a type of volcanic basalt rock that isn't usually magnetic were significantly magnetized, way beyond normal levels, up to 70 nanoteslas. And some stones were like compass needles.
Yeah, some of these trap stones were permanently magnetized, acting like natural compass needles, consistently pointing in one direction when floated. How does non-magnetic rock get strongly magnetized like that?
Good question. What about the X-radiation furrow?
They discovered this strange furrow in the landscape, about 1 kilometer long and 100 meters wide, where absolutely nothing grew except grass. No bushes, no trees, just grass.
Why?
Their hypothesis was that this strip of land had been subjected to some intense form of X-radiation, not necessarily X-rays, but some unknown penetrating radiation that sterilized the soil for most plant life.
Okay, irradiated ground. What about normal radiation levels? High.
Get this, abnormally low radiation levels. Background radiation in the area measured just 1.0 microranges per hour. The typical background elsewhere was around 15 microranges per hour.
Lower than normal. Why?
They linked this suppression of radiation to remarkably high concentrations of beryllium found in the soil samples within the zone. Beryllium can act as a neutron reflector and moderator.
So the ground itself was acting like a natural shield, actively suppressing radiation.
That's the incredible implication. The area wasn't just passively weird, it was actively altering the ambient radiation field.
This place sounds like another planet. Temperature swings.
The thermal balance was completely off-kilter. Daytime temperatures in July could be a pleasant plus 30 degrees Celsius. But at night, it would inexplicably plummet to -5 or even -7 degrees Celsius. Water left out would freeze solid overnight in summer.
Freezing temperatures in Siberian summer nights, that's extreme. And compasses.
Compasses went haywire near those magnetized trap rocks, deviating by a staggering 30-40 degrees, another sign of powerful, localized magnetic fields.
And the bright nights. People could walk around without flashlights.
Yeah, locals and expedition members reported being able to walk around easily at 2 or 3 a.m. without flashlights because the ambient light was unusually bright.
Why? Northern lights.
Possibly related, but they tentatively linked it to a remarkably high phosphorus content found in the soil, up to 5%. High phosphorus can sometimes be associated with phosphorescence, a faint glow, but the exact connection to the night brightness is still completely unknown. Maybe the ground itself was faintly glowing.
Glowing ground, spinning compasses, freezing nights, dead zones. This place is nuts. But the creature... Tell me about the creature.
Okay, this might be the most truly bizarre finding of all. In the lakes, within this anomalous Irkutsk zone, they discovered and apparently captured specimens of an uncatalogued creature.
Uncatalogued, like unknown to science.
Completely unknown. It was described as being reptile-like, with a lizard's head, but a fish's body, 3 tails, 6 legs, and fins.
Lizard head, fish body, 3 tails, 6 legs, fins. That sounds like something out of mythology.
Doesn't it? Biologists back at Krasnoyarsk University apparently examined specimens and could not identify this creature in any known world catalog, living or extinct.
An unknown, multi-limbed, chimera-like creature living exclusively in the dead zone of a potential gravibolide explosion site.
That's the report. It pushes the boundaries of biology just as much as the rest pushes physics and geology. What is this thing? Where did it come from?
Seriously. A creature straight out of a medieval bestiary living in a zone where compasses spin and watches stop. Okay, almost done with the weirdness. Bolshoi pit. Silicon.
Right. Then in 2004, another related event, potentially. Near the Bolshoi Pit River, along the original flight path, another heavenly visitor, again, likely interpreted as a gravibolide in Chernyaev's model, knocked down vast stretches of taiga forest.
And it left something behind.
It deposited this peculiar white, alabaster-like liquid substance, which later solidified. Analysis showed it was almost pure silicon. It coated over 20 square kilometers of rocks, trees, and soil.
The landscape was painted white with pure silicon, dropped from the sky.
Apparently so. Another completely inexplicable geological deposit.
Okay, finally, the legend of the reindeer stone. Olin Kamen.
Yes, this brings together local lore and tangible physical evidence beautifully. Local Evenk legends, indigenous people of the area, spoke for generations about a fire god, Agni, and a large white stone, shaped like a Dutch oven that fell from the sky near the Agni River.
And one hunter mistook it for a reindeer.
Exactly. The legend says an Evenk hunter saw it from afar and thought it was a large white reindeer lying down, hence the name Olenkamen, reindeer stone.
And Lavbin's team found it.
Incredibly, yes, in 2004. Following the legends and maps, they found it. A massive white stone, 3 meters long, 1 meter wide, 2 meters high, sitting on a riverbank. And it really does resemble a large prone reindeer from a distance.
And it was clearly out of place.
Completely. Its appearance was unique, totally different from the surrounding dark dolerite rock, which is common there. And trees around it showed west to east fall patterns and burn marks consistent with the 1908 event.
But the smoking gun, the proof it came from the sky or maybe from inside the Earth.
The most important feature, it had a distinct 2-3 millimeter thick brownish crust on its surface. Analysis identified it as a fusion or heating crust.
Like the crust meteorites get from atmospheric entry.
Exactly like that. This crust undeniably confirmed its external, or perhaps its intraterrestrial origin. It proved the stone had been subjected to extreme forces and temperatures, consistent with being part of the Tunguska object or ejected by it.
Wow. And what was the stone made of?
Chemical analysis revealed its composition as quartz chondrite.
Quartz chondrite. Is that common?
Not on Earth. It's a type of stony meteorite composition, but its specific mineralogy was unlike any known Earth rock or standard meteorite classifications, further solidifying the idea of its unusual source, either truly alien or perhaps an Earth-born body with properties defying conventional geology and planetary formation models.
So Lavdin's conclusion, after all this, after over 60 expeditions, 15 years of intense, dedicated field research,
his conclusion is nothing short of a revolutionary breakthrough in re-understanding the Tunguska event. He gathered mountains of hard physical evidence and eyewitness accounts that simply do not and cannot fit the old conventional narrative of a simple meteor or comet impact. The evidence points to something far stranger.
So, as we pull ourselves back from the deepest depths of the Tunguska enigma, wow, what have we truly learned? Or unlearned?
Good question. This deep dive has completely transformed our understanding, or at least the potential understanding, of the 1908 event.
Yeah, it's no longer just a baffling meteor impact in this view. It's now presented as this far more complex interplay of Earth-generated forces.
Gravity, anti-gravity, electromagnetism, all working in concert, as proposed by Chernyaev.
And painstakingly supported by the extensive, bizarre, and compelling field research of Lavbin and his team.
The implications are just profound. If the Earth itself can birth cosmic bodies with anti-gravity properties, if Sassovo and maybe Altai are indeed blueprints for a completely new kind of physics originating from within our own planet,
then our understanding of the fundamental laws of the universe, and indeed our own planet, might be ridiculously incomplete.
Far from complete. It suggests a living, dynamic Earth, capable of far, far more than we've ever imagined in standard geology or physics.
And those anomalous zones, Irkutsk, where electronic equipment just dies, where radiation levels are bafflingly low, where time itself might actually slow down.
And where even uncatalogued mythical-sounding creatures apparently roam.
It suggests there are these hidden dimensions to our reality, right here, right beneath our feet, that we're only just beginning to perceive, like veiled corners of our own world operating under different rules.
It forces us to question our deepest assumptions about what is natural and possible within the comfortable confines of our current scientific models.
Yeah, maybe the universe within our planet is just as mysterious, as complex, and as awe-inspiring as the universe beyond it, maybe even more so because it's right here.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it?
Totally. So here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to chew on, to ponder long after this deep dive concludes.
If the Earth itself can birth such astounding phenomena, pushing objects out from its core with anti-gravity properties, if our most advanced instruments fail utterly in these profound zones,
then what other impossible secrets are just waiting for us to expand our understanding of the cosmos and maybe more importantly, our own planet, far, far beyond the comfortable confines of current scientific dogma.
The mysteries are out there for sure, but sometimes maybe the biggest ones are right beneath us, just waiting to fundamentally redefine our world.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.